Purdue, Michigan, Big Ten championship, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox in Indianapolis. Look, part of this, I like Purdue here. I think that you like Michigan. I don't know if you still do. Aiden O'Connell, the Purdue's quarterback, dealing with the tragic loss of his brother, which was awful, who passed away last week. He was really emotional after the win. This past week, I think he was dealing with the funeral and some other family stuff earlier this week, but he's going to play and prepare here. That's the quarterback news in this game. But I actually think that Purdue has some value, and I'll tell you why. I think that, well, number one, they've just this is when they show up. They've shown up in these big games. O'Connell, Brom, that's, that Spoilermaker's nickname, constantly over the years. And I think that their offense is actually a little undervalued because, for a few reasons, they played in a lot of games lately in conditions. That won't be the case here. And then also O'Connell was dealing with an injury earlier this year that, over a stretch of 3 to 4 games. We talked about that Syracuse game. He played through the injury a couple of games after that when he was his least effective. They also have this kid Maccabee at running back who's been their most effective running back. They still can't really run the ball a lot, but he's by far, I think he was a walk-on too, their best running back. To give him a little bit more balance, but you're not really going to be able to run a lot on Michigan, but you can attack them with short passes. That's what Purdue wants to do here. And then part of this, and look, Purdue's run defense has been awesome all year. The defensive line has been great, and you can attack them with explosive passes through the air. I'll make McCarthy prove that once again, that he can do it this week. What have we seen from Michigan a lot of the other weeks? They want to lead on their run game, and they're going to be in. Look, they played Maryland, really close game. They played Illinois, really close game. I think that this is actually, and this is just kind of me guessing on motivation. Like, I think Jordan's going to care. I don't know how much Michigan's going to care. Michigan's already in the college football playoff. They already won the Big Ten last year. And when I say care, look, when the game starts, they'll care. Maybe they're a little flat, but I don't necessarily think they want to show a lot, and they don't need to blow this open. Right? They don't want to show a lot of last week they had trick plays. They were showing their downfield passing attack. This is like, let's run it. We might have, we're going to play some really good teams coming up. So I don't think that they're worried about showing a lot. We're going to run it at a high rate as they've done in the past. And Purdue's run defense is up for the task. And then, for what it's worth, unranked underdogs have been really successful against the spread against ranked teams. In conference title games, they're 14-6 against the spread, 70%, covering by an average of 12 points per game since 2005. That applies in North Texas and Purdue, for what it's worth. So, yeah, I think Purdue catching 17, also big backdoor ability here with O'Connell at quarterback. So, yeah, I actually like Purdue catching the points, but you disagree here.
Yeah, I did take Michigan minus 16 on open. It's a number that I expected to close 17 or higher, and then I would assess later in the week. I'm not backing off the Michigan bet. This team has been unbelievable in the second half of games. Similar to what I said about TCU and the defense in their second half adjustments. Sharon Moore, Jesse Minter, these two are going to fight each other for the Broyles Award. I mean, they've just been absolutely unbelievable in the halftime. How good have they been after halftime? Michigan over the last 6 games is outscoring opponents by a net of 116 points. I know there are some duds on this Big Ten schedule, but just look at what happened against Ohio State. You mentioned that we don't want to show the playbook. I would argue that Michigan's only shown about 40% of the playbook this entire season until they played Ohio State. So it just doesn't matter. Is there's still tricks in the bag we're going to pull out, or we're going to save that for the national championship game against Georgia? I think it's important to know that the game plan, Jeff Brom is a great head coach, and the game plan that they're going to come out with is probably going to give Michigan some problems through the first 3 to 6 series. And I wouldn't blame anybody, and I might do it myself. I might bet Purdue money line in the first half. Now, my problem is I don't think Michigan is going to come out uninterested or not even wanting to cover the spread. I think that the opposite of that, because they were in this exact same spot last year. They beat Ohio State for the first time in forever, and they whipped Iowa 42-3. Now, I know this is a better offense, but at the same time, I've seen enough out of Mike Sanders still. I've seen enough out of DJ Turner. I've seen enough out of this secondary to know that they're going to be able to stop a very one-dimensional Purdue offense that is very pass-happy. Purdue's been a top 35 team against rush explosives, but the defense has struggled to stop the deep pass. So that makes me think that we're going to get more play action from J.J. McCarthy. And I'm going to be looking for a JJ McCarthy prop too, because Purdue has been good about stopping the run. And if Michigan decides that they're not going to run the ball to save the health of Blake Corum, this could turn into some scrambles for JJ McCarthy. So I do like JJ McCarthy's prop on number of yards from a rushing perspective to go over. I like the first half under 27. I think the game is going to be scripted through the first 3 drives, maybe through the first quarter and a half. And Purdue's going to have a shot when you're going off script. But once Sherrone Moore and Jesse Minter make those changes in the locker room, they have dominated everybody on both sides of the ball. Hasn't even been close. And that includes the precious Ohio State team that is trying to get into the playoffs. So I like Purdue's chances up until that halftime buzzer hits.
Yeah, I mean, but I think that the situation is different for Michigan this year. I mean, last year, and look, they were running it up late because for a school shooting in honor of the teacher in the school shooting. So there was a motive to keep running up the score. But they also weren't in the College Football Playoff last year. They had a loss. They needed to win that game. They also hadn't won the Big Ten in a while. Like they've already done this. They're already in the College Football Playoff. And look, McCarthy, I don't know if they're going to throw a lot here. I don't think they want to show a lot, but he hit some explosives against Ohio State, but people forget he was horrendous for a month before that, throwing the ball. So we'll see if he can be efficient in that aspect, because that is how you attack Purdue. But I'll take the points here and trust in O'Connell. I actually think it might be a competitive game, but yeah, the halftime adjustments will be a critical piece to the outcome of not only this game, but who covers the spread.